Hi. If you don't know me, my name is Elle. I'm 20 years old, and I am a female to male to female detransitioner. I made a video in January called Why I Transitioned and Detransitioned. And when I made that video, I was currently 4 months off of testosterone, and I was experiencing for the first time what it was like to identify as a woman, tell other people that I am a woman, and live as a woman for the first time in 4 years. 5 years. What does that mean for someone who has detransitioned? Well, for me, it means that I no longer take cross-sex hormones. My body now produces my own estrogen. I have ovaries, I have a uterus, so I get periods every month. Pretty regular. I experience something that I would call transition regret. Some people call it reverse dysphoria, but I don't like to call it that because that gives it a name that makes it sound like something you have to do something about. And for me, I don't want to feel like I have to do something to fix the way that I feel about regretting transition. There are some things about my transition that I'm trying to reverse, like, for example, facial hair growth. I might get a tracheal shave because I'm not a fan of having such a prominent Adam's apple. But it's been 11 months since I decided to detransition after living as a man for 4 years and taking testosterone for 3 years from age 16 to 19. 11 months. It's a long time. It's also not that long. In the grand scheme of things, I know that I have the rest of my life ahead of me to become the person that I am supposed to be. But during this time, it's hard to see that far into the future for many reasons. But I struggle most days, I'd say. Maybe about half the month. I like to look at things in terms of months. Half the month I'm happy with myself. Half the month I feel good about myself and my body and my life and where it's going, and I look forward to the future. But then the other half of the time I sit and think, this fucking sucks. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this forever. I don't know how I'm going to deal with the way other people see me forever. I don't know how much I want to change about myself. I don't know what I can change about myself or what I should change about myself. And I struggle. But the reason why I make these videos, the reason why I talk about this is because I want people like me a year ago to see this and think that this is possible, because I didn't, and that's why I didn't detransition for so long. That's why I kept transitioning. I want to talk about what life is like. Next month I'm going to make a video about my body and all of the changes I've experienced since being off of testosterone for a year. But today I just want to talk about my experiences day to day living as a woman who has detransitioned. It's simultaneously easier and harder than I thought it would be. Immediately after I decided to detransition, I went to Target and I bought sports bras so that I didn't have to wear a binder anymore. And when I first started wearing them, I thought it was kind of funny that people would like see me and do a double take. They would see me and then maybe like see my boobs and then be like, oh, okay. But for the most part, I was still treated normally, and I was still treated like a guy because I looked like a guy back then. And I had no problem being treated like a guy. I also made a transition from male to non-binary before I took the whole jump straight to female. Like, I did that for people around me, but I also kind of did it for myself because I knew that I couldn't just immediately swap over to a brand new identity. I kind of wanted to feel in between, like I had a safe place in between that I could chill for a while. So I didn't have a problem with the people who would call me a man because I knew that I had been on testosterone for 3 years. You know, it was expected. I was just waiting for all of the changes to come where I would suddenly look back and realize I look like my 15-year-old self again. And I think the hardest part of detransitioning has been coming to terms with the fact that I will never look like my 15-year-old self again. I will never look the way that I should have looked if I had just kept going through puberty and growing up with my female body. I will never look like I was untouched by testosterone. I will probably always have reminders of how I spent 3 years of my life doing that to my body. I might always have more body hair. I might always have a slightly stronger jaw. I might always have more pronounced eyebrow ridges. And these are little things that, for me, add up when I look into the mirror and I see reminders of the testosterone that I took. And I see reminders of the fact that I didn't grow up into the person that I thought I was going to grow up into when I was a little girl. But things are better for me than they were. And I say that, and then I explain how, and to my ears, it doesn't seem like things are better. But to my body, things are better. To my stiff joints, to my achy bones, things are better. To the fat on my hips, protecting what might one day be a child of mine, things are better. It's hard to wrap my brain around how much can change in just the span of a second. Because 1 second I thought I was a man. And then 3 years of hormones and 4 years of identity were suddenly wrong. Not knowing who I am has been a huge source of anxiety over the past 11 months. Trying to figure out where I fit in as a woman now, permanently altered. I've been dealing with heightened anxiety levels for the past at least 6 months. My depression has been pretty bad as well. And these are issues that I did not struggle with when I was on testosterone. And I think it was a combination of feeling as though I had figured myself out, feeling confident and happy with the way my life was going, knowing that I was taking every step towards becoming the person that I was supposed to be, and having testosterone in my system, which was probably good for my mental state overall. Those 4 things can suddenly be turned upside down, flipped on their head, And I realized instantly that I had made a mistake. And having all four of those things crumble down at the same time, all of my self-confidence, all of my self-assuredness, the notion that I knew exactly who I was, 5 years of identity crumbled around me, and I was supposed to just be left with the same life, doing the same things. Nobody around me could understand that. And eventually that got to me because I couldn't talk about it with anyone, especially not the people that I knew who were in the trans community. I didn't feel like I could really understand their perspective anymore, and I didn't feel like they would understand mine. So I turned online and I started posting more on the Detrans subreddit. And I started posting pictures of myself because I was starting to become a little bit more happy with the way that I was looking. Still masculine, but with a little bit soft around the edges. And people liked my pictures. I got pushed to the front page quite a few times with my posts. So I started posting more. And eventually I thought I could sit down, make a video, and post it on Reddit. Tell my story, and maybe some people could relate, and I could understand the perspectives of a few more people. What I didn't anticipate was my video going viral. And the amount of questions, the amount of support, the amount of love, the amount of hate. But the biggest thing I didn't anticipate was hearing all of the other stories of detransitioners reaching out to me from all over the world. People just like me, going through the exact same thing that I had suddenly become almost a spokesperson for. But I haven't really gotten into any of the actual nitty-gritty of detransitioning. I've said a few times that it's not all fun and games. It's not all, re-identifying and then everything's peachy keen. But I've never really talked about my actual experiences day to day. Every day when I leave the house, I think about how other people will see me. I think about whether someone's going to call me sir or ma'am, and how I would react to it either way. I think about showing the name on my credit card or my driver's license and knowing that if I were to be talked to about it, people would assume that I am a trans woman. I wonder how the drive-through person will react when I talk through the speaker and then pull up to the window. I wonder whether people think I'm a masculine woman or a feminine man or a trans person. I wonder what my clothes say about me. I wonder what my hair, my face say about me. I wonder if I should be doing more or less. I wonder if dressing the way that I want to will affect the way that other people see me. If I dress masculinely, will people think I'm a guy? If I dress feminine, will people think I'm a trans woman? And I wonder how long I'm going to feel this way, if it's for the rest of my life, if I'll just stop caring one day. I wonder how much I could change to make myself blend into society better. I wonder if I should ever get surgery, or if I should continue getting facial hair removal, or if I should try voice training. I wonder if I'll be able to be accepted in a community of women, or if they'll always kind of linger when they look at me and wonder whether I should be there. But sometimes I have good days where I walk out of the house and I think, I really like how I look. I walk out of the house and I think, other people don't care who I am or what I look like. Other people don't care what gender I am, whether or not I'm trans or not. People don't think about me as much as I think about me. I have only recently began to accept that I might look somewhat like a man forever. I might always have the remnants of being on testosterone as a teenage girl. Having those 3 years of hormones running through my body, overtaking everything that my body already did on its own. Some things about me will stay masculine. My face might always look as though it's been touched by testosterone. However, in the past 11 months, a lot has changed. Things that I wasn't sure would ever change. When I thought about detransitioning for the first time, in the abstract, I kind of thought that everyone would just assume I was a trans woman forever. I have seen physical changes that a year ago I would have thought would never go back. My hairline is growing back, which was my biggest concern when I stopped hormones. I was balding very quickly. There is a difference, but I might still just kind of look like a guy. Because when I first went on testosterone, my face shape changed pretty quickly. 3 years of sustained hormone levels in the male range means that might be permanent. Even though this is the hardest thing that I have ever done in my life. Harder than transitioning, because transitioning was an escape from my old self, and now this is a acceptance and returning to my old self. Even though this is harder than transitioning ever was, accepting that I've changed my body, being okay with it, and learning to manage my expectations of other people and my expectations of myself. Learning how to deal with my emotions. Learning how to love my body for what it is. It's a struggle every day, but I would do it again. I would rather be detransitioning and live with the consequences of testosterone and have people think maybe that I'm a trans woman for the rest of my life than to continue down a path of cutting up my body, weekly hormone injections. It would be unfair to my body that's just trying to keep itself working on its own, self-sufficiently. My body takes care of itself, and my body doesn't care how it looks or how I feel about it. My body runs independently of me. Why would I mess that up again? I think it's pretty beautiful. My body was made the way it is perfectly. There's nothing wrong with me. I have made changes to it. That's part of life. Things change. Faces change. Bodies change. Sure, it was a little bit more unnatural in my case, but things change. I've changed. I've evolved past the need to continue hating myself, to continue hiding part of me. I've evolved past the need for a transgender identity. The next step for me is completely accepting who I am and accepting that other people might not see me the same way that I see myself. Other people might have thoughts about me that I can't control, but I will never be in their head and they will never be in mine. It's okay if other people think about me in a way that's not true. That's just part of being alive. So, whether or not I decide that I need to fix other things about myself later, what surgeries or facial hair removals or voice trainings that I need to do, those will be up to me and my future self once I get settled in my new experience as a woman and learn to be content in my own body and feel safe and love myself and take care of myself before I start to try and change other things about me. Even though detransitioning has been a roller coaster ride for me, up and down, really great sometimes, really awful other times, I believe it's for the rest of my life, and eventually I hope that I won't even really think about it anymore. I hope that I won't have to. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of examination of my own feelings and my own coping skills and the way that I look at things, the way that I see myself and other people in the world. But any good thing in life is hard. Huge thank you to my patrons. All of their names are right here. You are incredible people. Thank you for supporting me. Check out all my social media down below. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.